Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's show. We are talking about activities in communities, and that's one of the most important pieces of being in a community, especially one that is independent living and providing socialization and meals. And I was thinking about who is the best person to talk to about this. And I thought my friend Rhonda Bedrick. So
thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. So I traveled over to Pinewood Hills in Flower Mound to talk to Rhonda because she, in my opinion, and I would say probably everyone's opinion at Pinewood Hills, she puts so much effort and enthusiasm and passion into what she does every day and what she does for the seniors. And she's creative and just amazing. So you just have to meet her too, and you will agree with me, I'm sure. So Rhonda is the Resident Experience Coordinator. That is her title that I can never remember because every community has a different title. So sometimes you might hear people referred to as activities directors, just activities or whatever. But Rhonda is Resident Experience Coordinator, and welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to be on the podcast today. I am very honored, very honored. And I'll just tell you, don't worry about calling me REC, Resident Experience Coordinator, Activities Director. Just think of me as Julie, the Cruise Ship Director, right?
That's so funny. You said that earlier, and I'm like, yep, we're the Love Boat people. We remember.
Absolutely. We remember the Love Boat from that generation.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And that's exactly what you do. Or like you said earlier, sort of like when you go to Mexico and go to the all-inclusive resorts, well, you go there, for the food, you go there for the experience, the activities, dancing by the pool and, all that stuff. Right. That's what you do.
Right. And you might even sing out and say, "Oh, Cabana boy," or girl, depending on.
That's very true.
So many of the residents will holler at me and say, "Oh, Rhonda." And I'm like, "Yes, love. What can I do for you?" So we have a great time here at Pinewood Hills. It's all about life and living it to the fullest. Yeah. It's a retirement community. Just because it's a retirement community doesn't mean we're sitting on the front porch in the rocking chairs.
And y'all aren't. Every time I'm up here, there's a lot going on. So it's a lot of fun. So Rhonda, tell us about your background, because you did not always work in senior living. You had a whole different career and then made a change a little bit later on in life. So tell us about your background.
Okay. So I am a jack of all trades, you might say, a master of none. Even though several people tell me I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and this is definitely my calling. And for that, I'm truly grateful, because I believe that.
Yeah, I believe this is your calling.
It definitely took me a little while to get here, but I'm so glad I got here. It's kind of like all those folks that are not Texans, but they figured it out, hurry up and get here. Yeah, okay.
That's who you are for activities.
Yes, exactly. So, goodness sakes, I was a military spouse for 18 years. We traveled with the Air Force every 2 to 3 years. My husband was in the Air Force. We were married very, very young, and we grew up together and grew up in the Air Force, and had 3 children along the way that are now all grown, living their lives. Got 4 grandkids, so proud of them as well. And along the way, goodness sakes, I've worked in a cashier's cage, worked for an electrical contractor for many, many years, doing a lot of bartering, you might say. I was a purchasing agent for him, and I learned a lot about construction. And believe it or not, I love architecture. And I came to love that when I worked for the electrical contractor. And just to be able to see all the pieces come together and the end result to be this beautiful building, it's just amazing. Yeah. Even a parking lot with parking lights, they're so decorative now, or back in those days, and nowadays even more so. So went from there, and we actually did a few years of full-time RVing, my husband and I, after the children were all gone. Either they went in the Air Force, or they married, or was off to college, whatever. And then we had a few little tragedies in our family that kind of took us off the road, and thought that was not the place where we should be at that time. Then, many years before that, I had met this phenomenal woman that I will never, ever forget in my entire life. She's such a cheerleader to each and every one that she meets. And she had the #1 consulting firm in Texas for home health, hospice, and private pay. And with that, we had our clients were agencies, and we helped them remain constantly in compliance with state and federal regulations. We had nurses, field nurses that would go and do their chart audits, do consulting.
So that kind of got you into the whole senior living world with that job.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a little piece that brought me closer to it for sure. Learned a lot about the home health side, hospice side, and private pay as well. So my role was events and education manager for that company. So I did a lot of traveling. I was on the road a lot, setting up conferences and seminars. We would provide educational opportunities for continuing nursing education, continuing CEUs, continuing education units, for administrators of those agencies, as well as the RNs that needed to keep up their so many credit hours every year, right?
With all that, I can see how all your experience has kind of all come together, because everything you've talked about is all that you do here at Pinewood Hills as an activities.
Planning.
Yes. And then all your military experience while you do so many things for the veterans here also. I got you now.
Yeah, girl. That's right. We love our veterans for sure. And we're so proud of every year being able to sponsor that event, our annual veterans event, that Jackie Archer with Advanced Rehab Trust heads up. And we're so grateful for her and what that brings to our community, to our veterans in Denton County.
Exactly.
Because we do keep it here in Denton County, for sure. I worked with that company, and it wasn't a job. I was so honored. It was a career that I loved. But as time goes on, life changes, and our company started changing, and I just felt like that wasn't where I should be in my life anymore. My husband, Tom, he works here at Pinewood Hills as well. He's been here for over 12 years as the transportation specialist. He's our bus driver, and he has the holiday touch, as they used to refer to back in the day. He loves the residents. He cares for them. He truly keeps their safety in mind at all times. He takes them to their doctor's appointments, takes them shopping, takes them wherever they need to be. And he doesn't just drop them off at the door. A lot of communities, the bus driver doesn't walk the resident to the door. They don't remain with them. They don't make sure that they're at the right appointment or the right location. Tom does that. He will not leave them until he knows that they are safely where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So he is to be commended. He is one of a kind for sure. Anyways, with that being said, when I would have some time off and wasn't traveling with my previous career, I would come over to Pinewood Hills and help out with special events, or maybe go on an outing on the bus with the residents. And over time, I got to know all the residents. I was known as Tom's wife, and they love me and adore me, and I'm grateful for that. My grandparents had passed on several years ago. My parents have also gone, so kind of felt like an orphan for a while with no elders in the family per se.
Now you have all of these that love you.
Oh my gosh. I'm so blessed because I don't come to work. I come to see family. Y'all are going to hear that so much because we did a Facebook Live and I told Lori, our friends become family and it's our Pinewood Hills family, be it our associates or be it our residents, so.
Yeah. So how long have you been at Pinewood Hills now? It seems like forever.
I know, right? I feel like I've been here forever, but as an actual associate, that means paid. Not that it's all about the money. Please don't think that at all, because it's about servanthood for me. It really, truly is. I'm going into my 3rd year.
Wow.
Yeah, and that time has passed very quickly.
It has.
Especially with COVID-19, coronavirus.
Yeah.
Our life has changed and we've had to regroup.
Exactly. We'll talk more about that too and how COVID's affected.
Right. Yeah.
So you came here 3 years ago.
Yeah, almost 3 years ago. And I have to tell you that for a year and a half, I kept saying, what the heck am I doing? What the heck am I doing? But I am truly grateful to be here. And, one day you're just kind of going along and you get that slap upside the head or, the good Lord above says, hey, I got you right where you're supposed to be. And you say, thank you. Thank you so much for putting me where my heart is and where I am supposed to be and where I can serve our seniors. And, so many of them don't necessarily have family that are close by, and you form those bonds with them, and they are your family. Yeah. So you walk through the door and you get to visit family every day.
That's right. And you have like a bright light about you whenever you come in here. You really do.
Thank you, Lori.
It's just, you can just, people are drawn to you, seniors are drawn to you, and you can just tell that this is your passion and you love being here. You're not just saying, oh, I'm setting up bingo. You're like, we're playing bingo.
Yeah. Who's going to holler win? They're winning.
That's right.
That's right.
Well,
and we do more than bingo, sister.
I know. That probably wasn't a good example because y'all do some amazing things. So, well, and that being said, tell us about a typical day here at Pinewood Hills.
So a typical day, we start our day off with a take 10 with our associates. We want to make sure that we're all on the same level that day. Everybody's aware. If there's a resident that has a special need, if we have a resident that's at risk, for some reason, they might need a wellness check. It's all about checking in on our seniors and making sure that they're okay during this time, because with COVID-19, isolation, depression, we're battling these items.
Yeah. And I should also say, if I didn't earlier, this is an all-inclusive independent living.
Yes, we are.
Which means that they provide 3 meals a day. Yep. They do activities. Everything's all included. Transportation's provided. So it is still independent living.
Absolutely. They can be as active or as inactive as they want to be. But we encourage them to engage. We invite. If we have a senior that just doesn't want to participate, always try to find out the reason. There's always a reason, They might not be having a good day. They might not be physically able to get up and come to exercise class. So maybe we need to adapt to where they can come to exercise class, but they're not standing. They may only can do a sit-down exercise. So we always want to be able to adapt to their need. There's always a workaround, no matter what. No is not in our vocabulary, right?
That's right.
Maybe later, but not no. Right? So getting back to a typical day here at Pinewood Hills for activities, starting off with our Take 10, so all the associates are on board, and if there is a special need, we want to make sure and address that. If there's a birthday, a resident has a birthday, we want to make sure that kitchen's aware of it, and we bring them an ice cream sundae, and we have a volunteer resident in the community that goes around and puts up these fantastic flyers that I created and printed some time ago, but she wanted to have a purpose. So I was like, well, how about you do this on birthdays? And she's like, I love that. So she makes sure the evening before that resident's birthday, that flyer is on their door. And when they get up that next day, they know that they matter. Someone thought of them. It's their birthday, and we're going to celebrate them. So, I line up the other staff members and say, okay, we're singing happy birthday today. Grab your hats and let's go. So we want those residents to know that they matter to us at all times. So that's a birthday event. And then we have exercise classes on Tuesdays and Friday mornings. We want to encourage the residents, because if you're not using that body and moving it, you're going to lose it. And we really want to emphasize that on all times, as well as we do brain health. We may do a simple brain game, be it a word phrase, and see how many words we can make out of that phrase. It's very, very simple, but we're exercising the brain cells. When you sit in your apartment and you watch mindless TV, the brain is it's consuming all that garbage, but it's not really taking it in. It's just kind of sitting there, and there's a void going on. So then the rest, the cognitive becomes null, and we don't want that ever. No. As a senior, there are so many activities that they can partake in, be it socially, be it engaging the mind, be it engaging the body, getting the body moving. We want to keep those spirits up.
Well, and I think it's interesting, and especially, COVID, and we'll talk about this later, but COVID has changed things. However, I walked in here today, and I walked in.
We were having a party, Lori. I'm so glad you showed up.
They were. So, there's in an area, the atrium area, they had the residents 6 feet apart with their masks on, and then they had a gentleman playing music he was amazing. Yep. He had them up dancing and singing and getting a little crazy.
Yes, it was a room full of crazy women.
It was all the women. Yeah, I was a little bit like, whoa, where am I?
Yeah, but Mr. Paul Anderson does that. He moves them. He goes straight to the core. He is a Vegas showman. That's what I always call him. And
He's amazing.
We adore him. He gets them moving. Physically, if they can't truly get up and move, full body, they're sitting in those chairs doing the twist,
they
moving
were
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Blueberry Hill. Then they went crazy on that one.
Clapping and dancing around.
But the fun thing also is, okay, so you had that going on, and then in your activity room, you had a whole group of people playing a game.
Farkle. They were playing Farkle, which is a game of dice, and then we also have a resident computer in our activity room too. And we've got some pretty tech savvy folks here at Pinewood Hills, so they're always learning, be it engaging the brain or engaging the body. They're moving, they're learning. So we've got all that going on. The atrium is full of activity. Activity room's got our Farkle bunch, and then we've got a resident that's on the computer over here. She loves Amazon, by the way. I'll just say that.
I do too.
Yeah, right. I know, who doesn't these days. Yeah, so we always want to be alive.
Yeah.
When you come in the front door of Pinewood Hills, we want people to know that there is life in here. This is not a nursing home. We're all inclusive, and it's independent retirement living.
And you have to get past, and people say this to me all the time, I saw people with walkers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, they're using a walker to remain independent.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't mean they're in a nursing home. They're using that to get around and still maintain their independence.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, look at our little residents today. That she gets up with her walker and she's dancing away with me.
Absolutely.
That doesn't enable that, or that doesn't allow someone not to do something. It does enable them to still keep going, by all means.
Yeah.
As long as the mind is telling them they can do it, by gollies, do it.
Absolutely. And so what? You can't walk like you used to. Well, thank God we have devices that allow us to remain independent.
Yeah, I thank the good Lord above every day that I can still get up out of that bed on my own and keep going. And when the day comes, if it does come, that I have to have a little assistance with a rollator, walker, whatever it may be, a cane, I'm still going to get up and move on. I just got a buddy to take with me, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
those buddies, you can dance with those buddies. You can exercise with those buddies. You can play cards. You can holler bingo. Life doesn't stop just because you have to have something to assist you to get around.
And you still are independent.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's something I want people to understand.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, so we had a full day going this afternoon.
Yes, you did.
So much moving on. And I think we might have even had a card game upstairs in the game room happening too.
So really, honestly, as we're talking, there is no typical day here.
No.
Because there's always something different, some kind of game. Like I was here yesterday and there was a group Wii bowling.
Yeah.
And
every day we do Wii bowling.
I know. I'll tell you what, I'm still shocked that one of the gentlemen, he bowled a $2.99.
Yeah,
My
1 point away
goodness.
from a perfect game of 300. And of course, we awarded Mr. Frank. We have a beautiful certificate sitting up there and he doesn't mind showing that off.
Oh,
and
I'm sure he
mind,
doesn't.
I don't mind showing that off either because that is quite an accomplishment for someone that is in their late 80s. And he's not sitting in the chair with the Wii bowling. He's actually getting up, throwing the Wii bowler, the little handle that you bowl with, so it's almost as if we're at the bowling alley throwing a bowling ball.
Yeah, he's moving.
Yeah, he's up and moving, so they're getting it the exercise that is needed for sure.
And some were seated because they have walkers, but they're still moving. They're moving their arm. They're still participating.
Yeah.
We had also talked about yesterday, and I love this about y'all, your beanbag baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about beanbag baseball and your amazing Pinewood Hills. What are y'all called again?
We are the Pinewood Hills Panthers.
Yes, the
Okay,
Panthers.
so I'm a baseball girl. Love our Texas Rangers, definitely. But I have a very special place in my heart for our Pinewood Hills Panthers. We have our mascot, we have our T-shirts, and we are very competitive here.
Yes, you are.
Just because you age doesn't mean that the competitive spirit goes away. And our seniors, they love playing beanbag baseball. They're getting up, they're moving, they're throwing beanbag baseballs down at a board. It's very similar to cornhole in case y'all aren't familiar with beanbag baseball. But holiday retirement actually was coined for this game itself. They more or less brought that into the retirement communities. Yeah. So we're competitive. We play against other communities, and the state of Louisiana that Miss Laurie is originally from actually has a state competition. Did you know that, girlfriend?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to go visit one of our other properties, Summerfield Estates, out there.
Shreveport, right?
Shreveport, right outside of Shreveport. And they were paying their $500 fee to enter beanbag tournaments statewide.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. You know, I haven't investigated if Texas has that yet, but...
it may be on hold because of COVID.
Yeah, definitely with COVID. We've had to put our beanbag baseball on just for the disinfecting, sanitation, because those little bean bags are cloth, and we want to make sure we're not transporting any type of coronavirus with each other.
I think what I think is so fun about it is that, pre-COVID, y'all would go and compete against other communities. And I think how fun.
We do.
How fun is that? And y'all won.
Yeah, we won against one community, but we lost against another. But that's okay.
That's all right.
We'll get them next time. We will get them next time. But yeah, it is so great because our residents, our seniors, they go to other communities and they're meeting other seniors, and they're building those bonds with folks that live in other retirement communities. And we actually, not only beanbag baseball gone to other communities, we have gone out on joint outings.
That's fun.
We have a sister property, the Bentley, located in Dallas, and we all gathered and met at the Dallas Arboretum a year and a half ago. Went for the tulips and the flowers blooming. We had a picnic together. Our residents from 2 communities came together, and before you knew it, we've got lifelong friendships going on.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I love it, and by the way, we go to WinStar when we're no longer in COVID-19 protocols. We go to WinStar and we take our gamblers up there, and we might pick up a few of those from a different community also. So we're building more are relationships there. And it's hard to make friendships when you're young. It's harder when you're older. And it can be quite a challenge when you're a senior and you're moving into a new community.
Yeah.
You know, you've lived in your home for all these years. You've known your neighborhood, your neighbors. And then all of a sudden, here you go, you're moving into a retirement community and you really don't know anybody. So we have a group that we refer to as our ambassadors. Our ambassadors are other seniors that serve seniors in our community and all our holiday properties. And it's my job to kind of get to know our new resident and to pair them up with an ambassador. That ambassador is going to look out for them. They're going to make sure that they're settling in, as well as I do that too. But this is my buddy that I'm taking to meet, and they become buddies as well.
Because it's easier to have someone go with you instead of walk into a room. I think, everyone kind of feels a little awkward when you walk into a room of people you don't know and they all know each other. Exactly. So that is beautiful to have that program.
It is. And, I try to pair them up and find commonalities between those individuals. If it's couples, we're going to pair couples. If it's a gentleman, we're pairing a gentleman and a woman with another woman. And if they live pretty close to each other on the same corridor, same floor, whatever. I always want to try and do that. But mostly finding the same interests, because if they have those same interests, they're going to be more than willing to invite them. Hey, you like to play bingo? Let's go play bingo. Oh, we've got a book of the month club. We meet in the library on the first Wednesday of every month. Come and join me. I'll come pick you up and I'll show you where the library is. I know Rhonda toured you, but there's so many things that you're grasping when you first come into the community, and just learning your way around. It takes multiple times, to walk.
It's a big community.
Yeah, it is. We're not as big as some, but we're a lot bigger than that house that our resident came from, or a small apartment, wherever they might have come from. But anyways, that's kind of just a hand-holding relationship. We want to be able to invite them to the dining room, and the associates, we may think that we live here, but we're not here 24/7. So it helps having another resident that is here and knows the experiences and the challenges that they might have to meet along the way as well. Yeah. It's always great to have someone show you the ropes wherever you go and whatever you're doing, right?
Well, and we did a Facebook Live here yesterday showing off all the Christmas decorations.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that was so sweet how you had one resident decorate the door of another one who couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really, like you said, they're neighbors helping neighbors, and they really, truly are.
Yeah, they definitely are. And, as the REC or the Resident Experience Coordinator, Activity Director, whatever you'd like to refer to it, it's not just about planning a calendar, putting the activities out there. It's so much more, because you're building those bonds and those relationships with our seniors, and you're bringing other seniors into that. It's the friendships, and it's lifelong friendships, because people live a lot longer these days.
They do.
We're not just, 50, 60, and that's it. We've got residents. At one time, our oldest resident celebrated their 105th birthday here.
Remember that.
And Miss Evelyn had quite the birthday party, I will tell you. So we're building a relationship that can last for some of our residents, 40 years, if you really think about it, as somebody comes in, because our retirement age is 55 here in our community. And if they live to be in their mid-90s, you're looking at 40 years, right? We've got a resident right now that 97, 98 years old. She shows up to everything there is to do.
Wow.
And she's recently been diagnosed with a very severe medical issue, but she's not going to let that put her down one single bit. She's at exercise class. She loves to dance. She loves the socialization. They come to me, and right now in coronavirus, COVID-19 protocols, we're not doing our happy hours, our social hours. We don't want to be exchanging a bottle of wine.
Sure.
If someone chooses they want to drink a glass of wine, we don't want that sharing going on, as well as food, because we could certainly, if it was there, we could certainly exchange it with our neighbor if we're exchanging food and drink or whatever. So we're very adamant, sometimes feel like parents, with our children saying, okay, y'all can't be doing that. But our residents, bless them, they do understand, and they're so good at understanding that.
Let's talk a little bit about COVID and changes that you've had to make here. So obviously not going out on excursions like you were, not having the happy hour and the parties because, you can't do like the little, kind of do like buffet food, that sort of stuff.
No buffets
no
for
doing
sure.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us some of your other changes.
Okay, so we still wanted our residents to be active. So with that being said, we can do exercise class in the doorway. We'll go down the halls. We can take our loudspeaker, our PA system. I've got a little boom box if we want to dance. Many times, the other staff will tell you, Rhonda's on the loudspeaker saying, all associates, meet me in the hallway. Get those residents to the doors. So they're in the threshold and we're dancing. We're exercising. We're doing the YMCA. We're doing the chicken dance. We're doing whatever we're doing to get them up and moving from that chair that they've become so accustomed to sitting in front of that TV. We're doing that. We have hallway activities. We might be playing putt-putt golf or something in that. Just in a small environment because we were limited on the number of residents per activity. Just to maintain our contact tracing,
So this was really like more your early days of COVID.
This was our early days.
And I know that you really shown, I thought, because you thought outside the box and some of the things you were doing. Didn't y'all do like doorway bingo or something like that?
Some of our other communities were doing that, and we just take on, we do that.
Y'all are so creative. Oh my gosh.
Or just go down the hallway and say, hey, what are you doing? Let's sit and chat, just to get them up and still socializing with each other.
And keep them from depression. Because I know in the beginning when we were all locked down, it was hard on everyone, but especially a senior who's moved here because they want socialization and now they have to stay in their apartment, can't even go down to meals. So.
Exactly.
And that was early days. Of course, things have loosened up now.
And then we had those residents that were new in our community. They would come in and they would have to quarantine in their apartments where they couldn't necessarily come to that doorway and be exercising, but we were doing our wellness checks. The meals, because they weren't able to go to the dining room because of those protocols, we were delivering meals, and twice a day we were bringing snack carts around. That was our wellness check. So we had activity carts, we were bringing coloring pages, puzzles, games, crafts for them to do in their apartment, or sit in the doorway and we can all do that together. We're just a little bit distanced from each other, and if we have to speak up a little bit, we have to speak up a little bit, and if that's not working, we get the mobile PA system and they talk on the microphone and we can sanitize the microphone after we touched it, right? So there's always workarounds, always. There's never a no.
Yeah, and I know because I got to participate in it. It was really fun. You organized an Easter parade.
Yes,
and we got to go around the building. That was one of the most fun things that I think I've ever done, just to see their faces. And they were able to sit outside. A lot of the apartments have patios or balconies. And there was one lady, I took a picture of her, and she had a sign that just said, thank you. And she was so precious. And I'm like, no, thank you. This is so much fun for us.
On that day, I had 3 residents come up, and y'all, I don't want to cry. But for a resident to come up after being in COVID-19, in isolation, and to tell you, thank you, that they matter. And 3 residents walked up after that parade that day and said, thank you, we matter. And everybody went around the building, and we went around many times.
We had so many cars. It was amazing. Because I was at the front of the line, and I kept seeing cars more and more arrive. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes. And we did a second parade. We did a Memorial Day, 4th of July, or what? I can't remember which one was it.
4th of July, because I came to that one too.
That's right, 4th of July parade. But it just let the residents know that they hadn't been forgotten.
Yeah.
And when they say, thank you for knowing they matter. That's what it was. Because they felt like they couldn't see their families.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They couldn't have any interaction with those families unless it was via Zoom call or Skype or, over their cell phone or whatever. But just to be able to see their families.
Because it had been probably like a month since they had actually seen other people. And even though it was from a distance and we were in our cars, I know I was hanging out of my sunroof.
We loved it. Yes.
And, but, they got to see us and to see their faces. And it was fun for us, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
wonderful.
had a blast. We had a blast, and the Easter Bunny made a appearance, and we had a minion and all those good things. It was a lot of fun. And our 4th of July parade was led by a couple folks on horses, and we are so blessed in our community of Flower Mound and Louisville and Highland Village, because when you put the word out there, I mean, I reached out to you, Lori, and said, "Hey, I'd like to do a drive-by." And what did you do? You reached out to your neighborhood and your community, the exterior community, as I always say, of Pinewood Hills. And those lovely folks came together and brought such joy to our residents.
Yeah, and joy to them, too.
Yeah.
It was just a really, beautiful experience, I think. And I do think that's important with any senior community. I think it's important for the surrounding community to get involved.
Yeah,
it's so important.
It definitely is.
And I know during non-COVID times,
yes.
you do have, like, from all the schools around here, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the orchestras, because I know I've come up here with my daughter with all those groups.
And we have wonderful volunteers.
Absolutely.
Tom and Diane, I'm just going to do a shout out for them. They come on Monday afternoons and they do a brain game where we're taking a word phrase and trying to see how many words we can make out of that phrase. They play Farkle, and that's an outside connection for our residents. It's not all about connecting necessarily inside the community, but also connecting outside the community, be it volunteering at the library or maybe going out and helping at the animal shelter.
Yeah.
That gives our residents purpose, and they're being helpful in our community, and they still have those connections with neighbors, outside neighborhoods.
That is something we've I actually did a podcast all about purpose, that we all need purpose no matter what our age, and that purpose can look different for each person, whether it's just volunteering at an animal shelter or helping a neighbor, whatever it may be.
And we want to continue to always give our residents strength, purpose, and belonging. And I'll let y'all in. That's what a little secret, that's what they give to me every day. So
strength, purpose, and belonging.
Strength, purpose, and belonging. That's right.
That's beautiful.
That is right.
Yep. So what about, I always ask people this question, but and I know because you've met so many seniors, but is there like one or two that stand out as just really inspirational? They really touched you.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many of them. I can't even narrow it down to one or two, to be honest with you. We definitely have those seniors that come into the community and they feel like they've just been left. For some reason or other, they couldn't stay in their home anymore, and they were alone. They didn't have outside contacts, and they weren't social little butterflies. But they come into the community, and with encouragement, they come out of those cocoons. They start to shine. Yeah. And before you know it, they are the social butterfly. They're going to be the one at the front door inviting you to come on into Pinewood Hills. They're going to find out what your name is and what you're all about. And that gave them a reason to get up that day.
Absolutely.
Purpose, But I do have a couple residents in particular that they do have medical issues, challenges that they face every day, be it getting up and being able to function, you might say, if it's a challenge that they've had for some time in life, be it multiple sclerosis or some illness that did attack their body. But those are the ones that inspire me to see what they're up against, and they don't let that stop them whatsoever. They get up, they get themselves dressed, they show up to exercise class. So what if they can't stand up and hold that chair? By gollies, they're sitting in that chair and they are moving that waist and they're moving those arms and they've got that neck moving, and they're smiling. They're so full of joy. And their joy ends up being over here in their neighbor next chair, because they see how happy they are, and to realize we're not all dealt that same deck of cards, right? But to be able to face it each and every day and not give up, because it'd be so easy to just throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm done.
Yeah, poor me.
Yeah, woe is me, the pity party, that sort of thing. But they don't. They live life to the fullest. And you know what? Just because you're 60, 70, 80, 90, 105 years old, there's a lot of life to still be lived. Yeah. There really, truly is. And those are the ones that inspire me. The ones that have challenges, but they meet those challenges and they keep going. They don't give up. They're survivors.
Yeah, exactly.
They are survivors.
I love that. That's awesome. And I think people sometimes don't think about this. Some people, anyone, maybe it takes them what takes you, what does it take, a minute to get dressed in the morning? Maybe it takes them 20 minutes to get dressed. And, it's tough. They're out of breath. They're putting effort into it. How easy would it be just to say, I'm just going to stay in bed? But no, they get up, they put that effort in, they get dressed, and like you said. They
show up.
Yeah.
They show up. That's right.
That they put more effort into it, but they're still showing up.
Well, they're showing up because they still have a purpose in life.
Absolutely.
And that's their outlook. It's all about the positivity, and that's what we want to reflect, is to be positive. When you breed negativity, it does you no good whatsoever. It takes a lot of energy to be negative. But my gosh, the energy you get from being positive and knowing that you have a reason to get up and live every day, and that is just shared with the rest of the residents in our Pinewood Hills, And we have those residents that they are there at every activity. They bring such joy. They're constantly smiling, and they encourage their neighbors. And that's what's very, very important. Yeah. That sense of community. They look out for each other. I stand in awe of them. They may have a little text group and they check on each other every day, all day long. Or they may say, hey, let's meet down on the front porch and let's sit in the rocking chairs for a while. Let's go for a walk. We sit on 22 acres here with the green belt behind us, and it's beautiful. There's a walking path, and several times somebody will say, hey, let's go for a walk. The sun's shining. It's a beautiful day. So it's all about building those bonds, and you never know when you're going to make a new friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Rhonda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone listening now, you know why I wanted to interview Rhonda, because she has a lot of energy. She's so positive, and she is...
it's all about servanthood and love, just sharing the love with your fellow man. And the Lord has blessed me to be here, and for that I'm forever grateful. And thank you, Holiday.
It is your passion.
Thank you.
Rhonda.
It definitely is my passion.
It shines through. So, so I hope this is kind of shown the light on to use, since I'm saying shining, shown the light on to what activities are like in a senior living community, and that don't be afraid of moving in and thinking, I'm never going to meet a friend. How is this going to work? I feel awkward walking down to the dining room. This is what their job is, whether you're called a resident experience coordinator or activities person, whatever it may be. And that's what what they do. They're going to introduce you to other seniors. They're going to help you transition. And it's not something to really hold you back, and I'm afraid that's what some people do. They just get scared about the whole idea, and it's nothing to be scary. I mean, Rhonda is not scary at all.
No, I'm going to challenge them. One thing I wanted to highlight on is our Painting with Friends group.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that we started in our community because we had a resident that had never painted and always wanted to. but had no clue how to go about it. Well, we all know in this day and age, there's YouTube, there's Pinterest, there's anything and everything that can give us guidance and teach us how to do things. And there's also books, and I'm always game for learning something new as well.
Sure.
So I said, okay, we're going to get oils and acrylics and paintbrushes and canvases, and by gollies, there's a picture we can go by. We don't have to be an artist to start with, but we end an artist. And I would like to say that my heart is so full of joy because out of just bringing a canvas and a paintbrush and some oil paints out, one of our residents turned into the most phenomenal artist you could ever believe.
Wow.
I am so honored to be able to display our artwork. And we do. If you come take a tour of Pinewood Hills, you're going to see some of that beautiful artwork.
I took a picture and I will share it of the artwork because it is amazing.
Yes. So that's just one aspect, that
I think also, Rhonda, that's another thing. If you're at home and you're not socializing and you're thinking, I want to paint, I'd like to know how, odds are you're not going to go buy all the stuff and try it on your own. But if you're with a group of other people, whether it's just 3 or 4 other people, and the community's going to go get everything, you're going to try it.
Yeah, and that's what we do. If there's no cost to our residents, I mean, that's part of the package. It's all inclusive, your activities. Now, mind you, when we go on some outings, there might be a small fee, or if we're doing a lunch bunch or evening meal out, the residents are going to do that. And I always keep in mind they are on a limited budget, some of them, so we're not going to be doing some extravagant 5-star restaurant. We're going to keep that in mind.
I remember y'all went out to Paula Dean's restaurant and met her.
We did. We were so, oh my gosh, it was just phenomenal. So I had called to make the reservation for our group the evening before. And we got there the next morning, and I think we probably had 27 residents. No, it was right at 21 residents. And then we had 2 cars that came with some family members as well. So it might have ended up being 27 of us. Yeah. Paula Dean met us at the front door.
Oh my gosh.
She took the time and took photos. She would take a single photo with a resident, and she took group photos. She gave us free appetizers. She came over and asked how the food was. She sat down and ate with some of our residents. I'm telling y'all, she is phenomenal.
That's amazing.
We were honored. We were blessed. We were in awe. She's famous after all.
I know.
Yeah, so that was a great day out. So you never know what's going to come around when you hang out with us at Pinewood Hills. We go to the ballet, we do the theater, we do movies, we're doing museums, Arboretum, WinStar. And if somebody says, hey, I'd like to do this, it's on my bucket list. Well, heck yeah, we're going to do it. And I'll leave you with this as far as a bucket list item. We had a resident a year and a half ago come to me and said, I'd never ridden a train. I'd never ridden the DART train. Oh. And I said, well, you know what? I haven't either, but we're going to do it. So we had to put fear to the side. Our bus drove us down to the little Louisville depot. We rode that train, and we changed trains at Trinity Mills, and we rode the DART right to downtown Dallas. The bus picked us up, and we went, and we had an awesome lunch. Everything was organic. So I'm always wanting the residents to try something new. And first I had a few of those folks, some of the gents were like, that's not man food. And I said, you're going to love it. I promise. Just give it a try. So I'm always encouraging them to try something new also, because we're never too old to learn something new or to try something new. Or to go on an adventure. Yeah,
and so did the resident enjoy the DART?
My gosh. They're already asking, when can we go again? And I have new residents since then. Yeah. That they said, hey, I heard y'all rode a train. And I said, boy, did we.
So once COVID's over, then y'all go ride that train again.
Yes, exactly. And we're so fortunate because today we actually went into a recovery phase 3. And we get to start going on our mystery trips. And a mystery trip, we don't get off the bus. We go for a ride. You know, there's a lot of residents that aren't able to go out with families for whatever reason it might be, or they might choose not to. But they'll get on that bus because when they're on that bus for that mystery trip, they're being challenged.
They have no idea where they're going.
They have no idea where they're going. They'll get hints along the way. And then it's, you know, I'm working those brain cells. I want them thinking and moving with that body to get on the bus. So we go for that ride. They get hints along the way, and they have to guess where we're going and what we're doing. So they're always being challenged.
That's awesome.
So anyways, I love
great.
you, Lori Williams. I'm so grateful for this time with you today.
I'm so thankful. I love you too. And I'm so thankful that you agreed to do the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
And share all this great information. And thank you all for listening. As always, you can go to my website if you need additional information or want to contact me. Maybe you want to find out about Rhonda and Pinewood Hills.
Yes.
I will help you with that. So my website's LoriWilliams-SeniorServices.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks.